Welcome to another video. So today we are doing a video on the Manchester United players of 2019/20. Obviously this year was a bit of, for every team, a bit of a weird season because we had coronavirus kind of stop it midway. So some players might have been hitting form but then came back after and weren't really hitting it because of the break basically. But I'm going to rank what personally I think were the best players of our season and what were the worst players. I think overall we had, for what our team was, a very solid season. But for what Manchester United should be hitting as a club, it's not good enough because realistically we should be up there with the likes of your Barcelonas, Man City at the moment, Bayern Munich. We should be one of the big teams. We've got the biggest fan base around basically. But yeah, we should be hitting better. But for what our season started off with and what our team's like on this season, I think we did very well. And to be fair, it was one of the more enjoyable seasons as a United fan in the last few years. So yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this season. So first, I'm going to start from bottom to top. Chris Smalling for United didn't have a great season because he wasn't there. He was out on loan for Roma. So for me, I'm going to put Sell. But overall, last season he was untouchable, to be fair, in the Serie A. But I'm going to put Sell because I think he doesn't fit the Prem, basically. He's very good in the Serie A, but the Serie A can have... There's a reason why they've got a lot of old defenders, because it's the kind of league you can get away with it. Harry Maguire, personally, he was a starter. He is very good. The one thing that he gets a lot of criticism for, which I understand, is his speed, but that's nothing you can really help. If you're a slow player, then you're a slow player. Yes, he cost us a lot of money, but you could see we had a leader in the team for once, and we haven't had a leader for ages. And we also, he is very good defensively. It's just his speed lets him down. And yes, Van Dijk, very, very good. Costs cheaper, but at the same time, money's going crazier and crazier every season. I mean, look at the coronavirus just hit, and there's players that are apparently moving for hundreds of mils. Look at Chelsea; they've just spent about 250 mil on players. So yeah, it's just getting crazy. But yeah, he had a very good season. Was starter, not untouchable, but he was a starter. Phil Jones, we just need to release him ASAP. He's had a lot of good memes, but that's what will be remembered as United player. He'll be remembered as the meme, basically. Eric Bailey, for me, is a bench player right now. He looked very good when we brought him in, but this season he doesn't look there for it. I think it's maybe because we haven't played him, so he's lacking game time basically. But I still like him. I don't think we should sell him. Maybe even loan him out. But yeah, at the moment I think bench player. Lindelof for me I wouldn't count him as a starter personally. I'll count him as a rotation player. My reason for that is because Lindelof on his feet, very good. In the air, very, very weak. A lot of our goals come from in the air against Lindelof. And it's so annoying. I think he needs a bit of physicality, and that's why I would quite like Eric Bailly to be in this team, because he's quick, good in the air, and he's quite strong. But then Lindelof's better on the ball. That's the only thing you get from him. But yeah, overall not that good. Joel Pereira, I think we should sell him, because he's not really going to ever be a United starter, is he? I don't think... He's a good goalkeeper, but I think we should sell him to just give him a football career, basically. Same with Tahith Chong, to be fair. I think we could... I don't rate him at all. I think he's so overrated. He looked really good when we brought him in, but he's played a few games for United, and he's so frustrating, because you can see he's decent on the ball, but he's one of those players that are decent on the ball, but he loses it all the time because he does too much. And it's just annoying. Like, he's got the ability to be good, I just don't think he's got the right mentality for it. Greenwood, seeing as he didn't really start a lot of games, I'm actually going to put him as... No, I can't put him as untouchable, but he's close to being there. He's going to be a starter. But obviously, if we bring in a few players, then maybe not. But he's so good. And personally, I actually think we play Martial as a striker. I think Greenwood would be better as the striker than Martial. And then play like Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, because Martial's not good on the right. Rashford could do a job on the right. But yeah, I think Greenwood overall, he's the most natural finisher in the team. I really like him. I think he's definitely worth it. Yeah, would he be the one that's probably left out of the squad if we brought in a player like Sancho? Probably. That's only because he's not had enough games yet. But again, he would be the player every game I'd bring off the bench to make an impact. Like Lee Grant, he's not been that bad that we have to release him, but when's he ever going to really play for United? We should just sell him, really. I like him. He's a funny character, but he's just not going to ever play, really, is he? He featured one time, but that was only because Romero got himself sent off, I think it was, or he got injured. I can't remember. Rashford, to be fair, for me, he had an untouchable season. Later on in the season, he was a bit quiet, but he still was a threat, and I think Rashford, for me, is one of the better players in our team. Martial's more probably... I think Martial's got the technically gifted side, but I don't know, Rashford's got it. But I think the reason why I like Rashford so much is because you see he works. He works every game. Even when he's playing terrible, you can see him still trying to put a shift in. And this is my frustration with Martial. Like, Martial, sometimes I'm watching him, he still had an untouchable season because they both had a lot of goals and they played very well together. But he's very frustrating. You see him, he's one of those players that he can play a whole game and do nothing, and then he picks up one goal. And then everyone hypes him up because he got that goal. Whereas for me, yes, a goal's massive to get, but technically I could stand in the box, not be aware where the ball is, and it flicks off my head, and that's a goal for me. that's why I get frustrated with players like that. It's like one player, for example. A lot of Spurs players will hate me for saying it. Not Spurs players, Spurs fans. Harry Kane. Harry Kane's the most frustrating footballer because, not gonna lie, if he worked hard, he probably would be a fantastic player. And he is a fantastic player because you see the amount of goals he scores. But he's so lazy. Like, you see him, like, I think a lot of teams, yes, he scores a lot of goals for teams, but a lot of teams would be better without him because the whole team wouldn't play as well without him. I do think Martial's very good and a good team player, but I think he could work harder. That's my only thing about him. Sanchez release ASAP. I mean, he's off to Inter anyway. So McTominay, for me, I actually think he was he untouchable? Yeah, personally for me, he was untouchable. I don't know why we play Matic. It really annoys me, but McTominay should be that CDM that starts. He's younger, but he works hard. Defensively, he's not as... defensively, Matic is solid, but Matic is so slow and so bad on the ball and bad at passing now that doesn't make up for the rest of the game, basically. Matic, for me, we should sell. You can see he's just past it. He still puts in the odd shift, and he got one of the best assists, and not assists, like pre-assists in our team in the season. But he's past it for me. I think he's still defensively solid, but I think he's going to be that. He needs to be in that team, like in a worse league or in a lower team, basically, because you see we're trying to break really quickly because we're a counter-attacking team, and then it's got to Matic, and oh wait, he's taken 3 years with the ball. Like, that's my problem with Matic. He's so slow now. Angel Gomez, for me, I think we should loan him out. I think he can be a good player, but he's not going to get ahead of anyone at the moment. So I think we should loan him out. I think he could be maybe in our starting team in the future, but not 100% sure yet. Daniel James, for me, is a rotation player. He's the kind of player that he can play the odd game and he will play well. But for me, he's mainly going to be a player that you're going to rotate in the team every now and then if an injury happens, but also bring off the bench to make an impact. But yeah, for me, rotation player. But for how young he is and for how much we paid for him, he had a good season for the money we paid. Fred, for me, is a bench player. He had a good season, but he still, for me, isn't that amazing. Andres Pereira, I think we should sell. He's not got it now. He did look promising back in the past, but he's not got it. Romero, bench player. He's a solid goalkeeper, but he's not gonna get in the team really, because he's not gonna we'll probably, even if De Gea goes or something, he might start for a few games, but we'll bring someone else in. Like Lingard, I think we should sell. He's a good player to have, but I think we could have better midfielders. I think even some midfielders, maybe from our youth, we could maybe make more of an impact. One player that I quite like is Josh Garner. Juan Mata, personally, I think he's a bench player at the moment. But the thing that frustrates me is they always bring him on that like a right midfielder, and he's you don't play him there. You bring him in midfield if he's going to play. I've just realised they haven't put one player on here, which is a massive player. Paul Pogba. He's a starter, but he was injured for a lot of the season. That's why I've not put him in untouchable. He is hands down one of our most technically gifted players. I just think he's been in a team where he's not been allowed to play his game. That's what struggled. Tuanzebe, rotation player. I would like him to start personally, because I think he's better than Lindelof. But every manager's put their trust in Lindelof, but then he keeps conceding those easy headed goals, which is really frustrating. Wan-Bissaka, for me, he had an untouchable season. The only thing that lets him down at the moment is his creative play. So he goes down the wing and then he whips a ball in and you're like, oh, didn't come off anything basically. But defensively, I've been watching him and I'm like, I'd love him as my right back. Playing as a centre back next alongside him. Oh, don't worry, Wan-Bissaka's got him. I don't need to go help him because he's got him. Timothy Fosu-Mensah, for me, a bench player. He's a good player to have because he can play multiple positions. But he's not anything massive at the moment. Luke Shaw is a starter in my opinion. There's two players that I'm missing. There's probably a lot more. I don't know what it's saying. I don't get it. But there's a lot of players that I think I'm missing on here. But yeah, a starter, our best left back personally. And the only thing that lets him down is he gets injured a lot. But that's not really anything you can do. If you get injured, you get injured. Diego Dalot, bench player. He's nothing amazing at the moment, but yeah. I'm going to put Ashley Young in release because he actually has gone. Rojo, I think we should sell. De Gea. Now, De Gea, I actually see him now as a rotation player. It'd be interesting to see this season because we've got Dean Henderson back and he had a fantastic season with Sheffield United, to see whether he's going to play over De Gea. Personally, I think he should, because De Gea he had some really good games, but he had a lot of terrible games and a lot of goals that should never ever be going in. Even some of these goals that he conceded, even an outfield player you would expect to save. So yeah, he had a very shaky season, but to be fair, I think we can let him off a bit, but his season last year wasn't that great as well. So I think we should try keep him, but I think we should give him some competition because I think he's just got comfortable in that position. He knows he's the starter. He knows there's no one that replaces him. But yeah, I think there should definitely be. I think Dean Henderson should be given the go and then see if De Gea will prove himself in every now and then. But overall, very decent season. Two players that I know hands down are missing. Brandon Williams, which was our left back for most of the season last year. I would probably actually put him in a starter because even though I think Luke Shaw's a bit better than him, he still was very good for us. And I like both of them as our left backs. I don't think any of them are world class right now, but I think they're good. And then Bruno Fernandes was our late signing. He's hands down in untouchable. He was our best player last season and he came in halfway through our season. without him, we wouldn't have got Champions League football. So that's all I'm going to say. But this season, I'm very excited to see. Obviously, we signed Donny van de Beek, which is an interesting signing because I don't quite know where he fits into the team. But at the same time, it's a good signing. Like, even if it means that, like, maybe because Pogba's been injured a lot, maybe they brought Van de Beek in for, like, so they've got players in depth, like a bit like Man City is having now. But no, overall, I think we had a good season for what our team is, because when I look at our team on paper, yes, we've got a few players like Pogba, Rashford, Martial, but other than that, our team's pretty bog standard. So yeah, I think we had a very good season. I'm looking forward to this season, but I see something gelling in this team now, which is good. But anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what your opinion is, and let me know who you think is going to win the Premier League if you watch it this season. Personally, I think it's between City or Chelsea this year. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you soon.